To all members and guests, welcome to Leadership Speak. Please kindly note this important announcement. By attending the remote Zoom meeting event, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and/or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Zoom Master and Zoom host, may I request that the Zoom live streaming and Zoom recording begins.
I think Jyoti is ready now. She has spotlighted. Jyoti, are you ready? Oh, sorry. Yes.
Members and guests, welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. As club president, as well as the meeting Sadia at Arms, I'm Holmes Teng, and I welcome you to Leadership Speak. Here in Leadership Speak, we provide a supportive and positive environment in which members are empowered to develop communications as well as leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for advanced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club, focusing primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has the virtual hand raised so we can all immediately see who is keeping the time. Our TMOD will lead our meeting is Terrence, where our Vice President of Public Relations, as well as an experienced leader who will share with us his passion about scaling teams. Please join me in welcoming our TMOD, Terrence Ware.
Thank you, President Holmes. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Terrence Ware, as you've heard, and I'm excited and elated to be the Toastmaster of the day at this moment. Toastmasters and guests, what does scale mean to you? Does it mean simply expanding? Perhaps you've heard the story of the Daintree rainforest in Australia. There's one tree in particular, one of the oldest ecosystems on Earth, that has stood for over 100 million years. For a long time, scientists assumed its survival came from its big size. Think about the corporates, think about Microsoft, think about such brands. And some thought its survival came from its dominance. From the tallest tree, simply outperforming the rest, stretching farther into the sun, drawing more water, claiming more ground. Growth, they assumed, was about expansion. But then they discovered something more remarkable that was beneath the surface. The roots of these ancient trees had quietly, invincibly fused together, sharing not just nutrients, but signaling each other in terms of danger, channeling resources towards the weakest of the members through drought. The trees that had survived the longest, toastmasters and guests, were not the ones that grew the fastest. They were the ones whose systems had grown the strongest. Think about the roots. They scaled not by crowding others, but by building a network so resilient that no single tree had to carry the weight alone. I want you to hold that image in your mind for a moment, because it's a near perfect portrait of what it means to lead a scaling team. We live in a world that celebrates growth. Every startup wants to become the next big thing. Every entrepreneur wants to become the next Elon Musk. Bigger teams, larger headcounts, expanded portfolios. But there's nothing wrong with the ambition. But then the data, the experience, and if you're honest, our own journeys, they tell us that teams do not fail because of the size or that they stop growing, but they fail because the foundation beneath was never built to carry the weight. I've seen it happen, especially in the examples that you hear about startups not lasting beyond their second year. Statistics. Everybody knows the mission. Everyone knows their role. Communication is easy because the team is still small. But then suddenly, the team doubles, quadruples, and slowly, things begin to fade. Something shifts. The standards that were set slowly and silently now need to be stated explicitly. But then nobody stands up to say this thing. Nobody takes responsibility for stating them. What about those people who are quietly holding the system together? Suddenly, they're silent, but they're still working, but feeling increasingly invincible. As a member of Leadership Speak, perhaps you have seen scale from the time about 3 years ago when the club was founded to this time when you see members from over 32 countries and growing. I hope one day to add the flag of Australia to this portfolio somewhere. But as we work on our growth, we need to remember how strong teams work, and especially when it comes to scale. Strong teams are not lost in a single moment of failure, because we see that happen a lot. Some lose their biggest clients, but they still run strong. They are lost in 100 small moments of silence. This is where the self-directed leader steps in. You cannot be everywhere, but your roots can definitely spread the resources where they're needed. You cannot personally supervise and inspect every decision and every aspect of the club. At a certain point, your most critical work is no longer what people do, It's what they build. The system, the culture, the clarity to sustain what comes in. Scaling is not about numbers. It's not a numbers game. It's about building or designing something to outlast you. And leaders who scale are those that understand that building for the future, scaling without structure, is just noise getting louder. Today, we're going to explore several aspects of what it means to grow to scale, to grow without losing yourself, to expand without losing your people, and to build teams that do not just survive growth, but are made stronger by it. Welcome to Leadership Speak. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as we proceed, I will have the PR master post the guest book. Please fill in so that we can interact with you at the end of this meeting and even as the meeting goes on. At this point, I would like to invite the toast of the day, and it's going to be delivered by Hmok. Welcome, Irene. Irene, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Last year, I was part of my Toastmasters Club committee. At the beginning, everything ran smoothly. We were aligned. Communication was easy, and everyone understood their role. But as new members joined, things began to change. The club grew busier. There were more ideas, more responsibilities, and more complexity. Yet, something started to feel different. Members had valuable suggestions, but many were not heard or applied. Problems remained unsolved. Gradually, those who once contributed the most began to step back. They still performed their roles, but nothing more. They didn't feel heard. They didn't feel valued. And one by one, they began to leave. That's when I realized something important. Nothing had faded on the surface, but club was still growing. But underneath, something essential was being lost silently. Scaling a team is not just about adding more people. It's about making sure people don't feel lost as you grow. Because when clarity fades, people disconnect. When contributions go unseen, people walk away. Not suddenly, but silently. Effective leaders create clarity, build structure, and remind every person You matter here. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute your microphones. Turn on your cameras and raise your glasses. Here is to lead to chaos teams.
Need to
Need to
scale.
scale
team.
Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Helene, for that toast. We quickly segue to the not silent and not sudden. What am I talking about? Toastmasters and guests. This is the team that is going to help us run this meeting. And I'll start with the timekeeper. Our timekeeper is Christina. Over to you, Christina.
Hi everyone, your timer for today. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Christina, your timer for today. I shall time you according to the times on the agenda after each session. I shall post them to the chat box. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Christina. Next, we have our grammarian. Our grammarian this day is Nelly Jen Galido. Nelly Jen, tell us about your role.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, Terrence. Fellow Toastmasters and our guest. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce to you the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is empower. Empower, which means to give someone the authority, confidence, or ability to take action and make decisions independently. An example of using the word is at Leadership Speak. We learn that great leaders empowers others to take ownership, strengthen teams, and scale with purpose. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you so much, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Terrence.
Thank you, grammarian Jen. Speaking of empower, the next segment is going to empower us to understand the theme even further. Toastmasters and guests, take a moment to sign the guest book that will be posted in the chat shortly so that we can get in touch with you and continue scaling our teams. As that is happening, we start with the first speech. We normally have the leadership speaker. Our leadership speaker this evening, this morning, or whatever time it is, wherever you are, is Arouna So. Toastmaster Arouna.
Educational speaker time box.
Hello?
Report box.
Report.
Okay.
Right, could someone unmute?
It's okay.
someone mute
I
that
think she's
speaker?
muted now. Yeah.
She's
Is it
still
moderate?
unmuted.
Mhm.
Thank you. Hello? Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, the first speaker is Arouna, and the evaluator is Oltesh Thobias. Oltesh, how are you this afternoon, I believe, in your time zone? You're muted. Oltesh, we can't hear you. Sorry, you can't hear you, Oltesh.
I don't know.
Oltesh, it seems you've joined without your sound. So you can go to the bottom of your screen and join with computer audio.
Perhaps we could move on then and then introduce. Oh, Paul.
Thank you.
Well, Oltesh, perhaps we join this meeting. I will cover the introduction of this particular project. Thank you, TMOD. Our education speaker today is doing a level 5 speech, learning to speak professionally. The purpose of this speech is for the educational speaker, Arouna, to deliver a speech at a professional stage. So he will be combining his experiences at professional level and let us experience the speech. Back to TMOD.
Before I empower Arouna to take over the stage, he will be expounding on the theme that is leading to scale teams. Arouna, leading to scale teams, Arouna. The virtual stage is yours.
Economist, statistician, engineer by training, I was not prepared to fill leadership position. And my first leadership position was so challenging. In that period, I was promoted to lead the environmental economic analysis unit in the department in charge of statistics and economics at the National Statistical Institute of my country. New engineer graduate from the National School of Statistics and Applied Economics of Abidjan, one of the best schools of statistics and economics in the western part of Africa. My challenges was not on the technical side, but on the management side. How do you deal with people who think you don't deserve your position as leaders? How do you deal with people you think you are too young to fill leadership position? How do you deal with people who think they have nothing to learn from you? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, that's where the challenges I was facing in my first leadership position, dealing with people. What I learned from this experience is that the success of a team starts by building trust. As the leaders, you must build trust among your team members. And how to build trust? Of course, as a technician, by your technical skills first. Your team members must be confident you are a good fit for the position as leaders, and you are able to empower them to achieve the objective assigned to the team. And most importantly, as the leaders, you need to deal with respect and integrity. And because team members who feel valued are more likely to do more committed to achieve the objective assigned to them. Fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, I started my position as the lead of economic environment analysis by discussing with each of the members of my team by identifying their potentials, their struggles, and how I can help them to achieve their professional goals. By doing that, I discovered why most of them were frustrated. They think they deserve the position of the lead of a unit because they were more experienced than me. Unfortunately, most of the time in the governmental bodies, the main criteria to fill leadership roles is based on degree. That was the case at the National Statistical Institute of my country. Building trust among the members of my team, it became that building trust among the members of my team, it's become easier for me to share my vision for the unit and to have a commitment of my team to achieve the objective assigned by our managing director. But sharing my vision was not enough because in the field of statistics and economics, most of the time things are changing fast. And I noticed that some of the members of my team needed training to achieve the objective of the team. Therefore, my third action after building trust and sharing my vision was to put in place capacity building program to empower some of my members' team to achieve their goals by improving their technical skills. Ladies and gentlemen, the Economic Environment Analysis Unit achieved its goal. And during the first years, we received congratulations from our managing director. Most importantly, some of my colleagues received promotion after 2 and 3 years. As we used to say, together as a team, together, everyone achieved more. I left my position of Chief of Economic Environment Analysis after 7 years by building motivated and successful team. And currently, I work in as macroeconomics, specialized on financial markets in a regional institution, dealing with people coming from 8 countries. And dealing with people is still part of our main challenges in my current position. I continue to apply what made my team successful in my previous institution. Building trust, sharing my vision, and empowering people to achieve their goals. Those were the pillars of the success of my team in my previous institution. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, when team grows, most of the time it's come with diversity. And dealing with diversity is one of the most important challenges I'm currently facing. And joining Toastmasters in 2021 was a game changer for me to deal with diversity. First of all, the core value of Toastmasters remind me the pillars of successful team. First of all, respect of your team members, working with integrity, service, and doing excellence in everything we do. And most of them, and one of the main thing I learned by joining Toastmasters is about communication, because communication is key in my current job, even if it is a technical position. Fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guests, by joining Toastmaster, my objective was to improve my communication skills. And I was so surprised to see during my first Toastmaster session, Toastmaster where leaders are made. In that period, I didn't understand, but now I understand the importance of communication for effective leaderships. By discovering my primary communication style, knowing that I'm analytical communicators, now I'm more aware about my strengths and my weaknesses as leaders. At the beginning of my career, I was not diplomatic at all. But currently, I'm trying to be diplomatic in my relationships and in my communication, both in personal life and professional life. And also, I discovered that all in communication is not about speaking. Sometimes silence can speak more than words. And the way you are telling the truth is more important than the truth itself. Before speaking and during the speech and gestures and the tone of a voice can tell more than words. And by joining Leadership Speak, I learn the strength of teamwork because at Leadership Speak, with members coming from more than 30 countries, we are working with the way that people feel valued, people feel empowered. That is very important as strength to be successful as team. Ladies and gentlemen, what I learned the most by joining Toastmaster and especially by joining Leadership Speak is that leadership is all about service. As Mahatma Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Before doing that, leaders must learn because as George Maxwell said, leaders is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. At the beginning of my career, I was asking myself, Arouna, what kind of leaders you are? And I think by the time I learned to know my leadership style, I learned to know how to adapt my communication style depending on the kind of people I'm talking with and also the kind of leaders I'm in relationship with. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in a technical position, but communication is key. And when you are talking about communication, it's not about speaking. It's all about the way you are telling, the way you are speaking, the way you are using your hands, the way you are using your tone, and most of the time, the way you can stay silent even if people are waiting you for speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, by knowing the leadership style of my colleagues, the communication style of my colleagues, I learned to deal with diversity by doing more about the way people are communicated, the way people are leading, and that is very important for me as a technician. And now I can say I'm not an effective leader, but I continue to learn in my leadership journey. To the Toastmaster, thanks to Toastmaster, I learned what kind of leaders am I. I'm supportive leaders based on what I learned from the resources on the Toastmaster International website. And now I'm trying to strengthen my communication style and also to deal with my weaknesses as leaders in order to be an effective leaders. Back to you, dear Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Arouna. At this stage, Toastmasters and guests, I hope you have picked something from that. For me, communication is key. You'll be reminded that even when you're scaling, people need to know where they're headed. You must first learn, because a leader is one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. Thank you for that. we start with our speakers at this point, and the first speaker is Rashmi. Rashmi will be evaluated by Dipti. So, Dipti,
Hello.
what to you?
Yeah. The speech which Rashmi is attempting today is the icebreaker speech. The main purpose of this project is for the member to introduce themselves to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. The speech may be of any type, and her speech title is The Spark That Speaks. When I spoke to her, she told me to focus on her message, how articulate she presents her message, and also on her confidence. Over to you.
Thank you. The title of Rashmi's speech is The Spark That Speaks. The Spark That Speaks. Rashmi Udeshi. Rashmi Udeshi, The Spark That Speaks. The virtual lectern is yours.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. If you had known me several years ago, I was a backbencher and never wanted to be on the spotlight. Today, I had ideas, but I will never express it. Was about the past, but today I'm here and I am on the spotlight. What's changed? I come from two worlds. One is structured, finance and more digits, and the other is expressive. It's about arts, creativity. I am a professional finance person and an insurance sector. I, at present, am the club president of Medley Distinguished Club, Dar Toastmasters Club in Tanzania, which has more than 50 dynamic leaders, as well as I am District 114 Finance Manager, leading more than 90 clubs, and a proud member of Leadership Speak. In Toastmaster, I've completed my journey in effective coaching and my innovative planning legacy paths. I also worked as a Vice President membership, served on Education Committee, and had several committees working in area and district. I have also curated the Toastmaster Mentorship Blueprint and structured the club mentorship program. I have worked on several pitches and open houses and judges panel, as well as led contest. What has all this taught me? I have learned leadership skills and decision-making skills. But down the line, a deeper relevance was that during my presentations as a club president, I prepared and presented a well-structured thought and idea. All my committee members accepted it, nodded it, and liked it as it was clear and understood. But still, there was a spark missing. And that was to take my leaders as a team and take them, level up the team members. So that led me to another level of growth. And the communication, what was missing was, even though communication is well understood, my members did not feel a part of it. I realized I need to do something deeper and something to elevate, not to start over again, not to learn leadership, not to learn planning, but to learn something that was to refine, sharpen, elevate, and empower truly the ideas to my team, to have a team that works together. And that led me to the new path, which is presentation mastery. And as I am a mentor, an educator, I come with this message for all of you, that communication by itself is not important. Communication and connection that you make with your team. Take your team and elevate your team together. And I encourage all of you to dare, elevate, shine. Dare to come out of your comfort zone. Elevate, come out, learn something, and evolve yourself. And shine. Shine to deliver your message with clarity, confidence, and hence this presentation mastery is a skill that I want to learn. And this icebreaker is just a beginning. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashmi. From the spark that speaks, dare to elevate, dare to shine. Shine, deliver your message with confidence. Thank you for that reminder. We move to the second speaker. Our second speaker this moment is Sonja, and she will be, or her speech will be evaluated by Hannah. Hannah, please unmute yourself and tell us what you're about to hear from Sonja.
This is the Toastmaster of the day. I am unmuted already. Sonja, gives me great pleasure in evaluating you. And you are presenting also from Presentation Mastery, Level 1, Project 5. Evaluation and feedback, the second speech. And the purpose of this project is to practice applying the feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. The purpose of this speech is for the member to demonstrate the ability to deliver an effective, respectful speech, evaluation speech. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hannah. The title of her speech, of Sonja's speech, is Small Steps, Big Results. Small steps, big results. Sonja Meindl, small steps, big results.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Terrence. What goal of yours feels like a huge mountain? The following fable has been told for centuries in Chinese culture and is teaching us a powerful lesson on the enormous impact of taking consistent action, of being disciplined, and how small steps can create big results. In a remote area of China lived an old man called Hmok. He was nearly 90 years old, and his village was located at the foot of two colossal mountains. They stood like giants, walls, blocking the road to the market, to the river, and the neighboring towns, forcing everyone to take endless detours. One day, Hmok gathered his family and shared his vision. These two giants steal our time and strength. If we work together, we can remove them and open a direct path. His sons dismissed him. Grandfather, how will you move such massive stone walls? Where will you bring all the rocks and the earth? Well, we will bring it to the sea. If we don't finish, our children will continue, and one day the road will be made free. Not awaiting their approval, Hmok simply started. Digging, lifting stones, carrying baskets to the sea. He repeated this routine tirelessly, day after day, week after week. From the outside, it looked as if he was trying to empty the ocean with a spoon. A neighbor watched and laughed. "Ah, you are a fool. You're old and weak. Time is not on your side." Hmok was not discouraged, knowing very well that his family will continue to grow, but the towering peaks will not. Inspired by his unwavering faith and discipline, his sons followed his examples and picked up the shovels. And not long after, something powerful happened. The whole village joined him in his effort, without him even having to ask for their support. As the seasons passed, the sound of the metal striking the rocks became the heartbeat of the village and the only thing that seemed to matter. The road became wider, the detour became shorter, and the insurmountable task started to shift. All began with one man refusing to accept their fate and taking consistent action. The fable ends with the gods being so impressed by Hmok's determination that they sent immortals from the heavens to help him clear the path. In real life, those immortals are a representation of doors that open suddenly, opportunities that appear unexpectedly. Not because of luck, but because action creates momentum, and that momentum attracts support. Doubts or plans alone do not inspire others to overcome challenges, but consistent, disciplined action does. When people see action and commitment, they start to believe and they join your efforts. And together, what once seemed as impossible becomes achievable. Every great achievement started with a small step, the decision to act. Take J.K. Rowling, the author from the Harry Potter series, as an example. A single mother, struggling, living from paycheck to paycheck. She wanted to become a successful writer. Despite all the setbacks and being rejected 12 times by the publishers, she continued to write, pushing forward every day. So if she could achieve her goal, so can you. Let me ask you, what is your mountain? No need to wait for the perfect plan or until your doubts disappear. Take the very first step, and another, and another. If you want to become an author, start by writing the first page. If you want to become TEDx speaker, start by drafting the first outline of your TEDx talk. Because small steps taken consistently create big results. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Indeed, small steps, big results. Are you being consistent in what you're doing? Because that consistency from the action creates momentum, and the momentum brings in the support. Or there's a word you used, but I've changed this to invite support. So whatever you're working on, however big, however insurmountable it might seem, remember, take action. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the third speaker of the day. Our third speaker is Rivero. And Ray's speech will be evaluated by, you guessed right, Sonja. Sonja, please tell us about Ray's speech.
Thank you, Terrence. I'm honored and delighted to evaluate Ray's presentation today. His project is part of the successful club series, Elevate to Motivate. When connecting with Ray, he shared that I should look out for if his message really is coming through to the audience, and if there were any distractions, from filler words to unwanted pauses in his presentation. Good luck to you, Ray. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Sonja. The title of Ray's speech is The Importance of Evaluating. The importance of evaluating others. The importance of evaluating others, Ray Rivero, the importance of evaluating others. Over to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. First, can you hear me okay? Thumbs up if you can. Thank you, especially to my evaluator, because each time we participate in a meeting, we aim to improve our communication skills. But did you connect with your audience? My fellow Toastmasters, members of this club, and our guests for today, without our evaluations, we don't learn, we can't connect, and we can't improve the message that we want to share with our audience. Toastmasters provides us with some canned presentations from the education series. And for most clubs, they just present it almost as is. But we're an advanced club. We have experience and we should share a little more than that. So I will. Yet the material is still relevant for us to learn how to be better evaluators. So let me mix them up together and share with you some of the things that I've learned as an evaluator. So how do evaluations benefit speakers? Immediate feedback. This is what I heard, this is what I liked. This is what you could improve upon, and this is how I'm going to challenge you. The goal is self-improvement, but better yet, self-esteem. We want to grow confidently because we want to hear the next speech. That's the ultimate goal, what evaluators can do for speakers. We want to hear you speak some more. We want to hear what you have to say. So when the evaluator talks, that speaker listens. Will the speaker come in saying, yeah, I'm ready to go for my next speech? Or are they going to go, God, why did I show up here? I don't want to do this. No, we're not going to let anybody in this club feel ashamed for speaking. Far from it. We want to hear you again and again because we want to see you improve and improve. So that starts with always preparation. Let's contact with the speaker. What are the project objectives? Is there a theme in the meeting where you can tie your presentation? Are you presenting online, in a room with an audience, or both? There's also evaluation criteria. There's some unique items in an evaluation criteria in your evaluation resource. It's also called a form. You can pick which words you want to use. But they include things such as common items like your clarity, your vocal variety, and body language to start things off. And I'm going to expand on that with that mysterious section on page 3 or 4, the very last page of each evaluation resource about the common language of scoring, that mysterious 1 to 5. Says to prepare yourself as an evaluator. Think about, what does the speaker excel at? How can they improve upon it? How can you challenge them? So let's start with the criteria, because it's a good first place to start. Let's pick vocal variety. Yeah, that's a good one. Because as an evaluator, that last page of each evaluation criteria is a starting point to help the speaker improve. Oh yes, there's a lot of information, and you might have a challenge to pick which ones to use. Don't pick them all. You'll go crazy. You don't have enough time. You only have 2 to 3 minutes. Just pick the ones that stood out to you. Something that just struck you. Something that comes out of here. One thing you want to look at. 1 through 5. Number 3 is the baseline. Toastmasters always provides positive criteria because the evaluation is supposed to be positive. We all aim for number 3 as our baseline. If there's some problems with the speaker presenting tone or speed or ineffective use, as in the case of vocal variety, but it's also the same for numbers 1 and 2, indicate that, because those are going to be areas for improvement. If the speaker did 4 or 5, which means they did something so spectacular that you can't think of improvement, that's what you want to say, this is what I liked about your speech. This is something good. Always aim for number 3. 1 or 2 are points of improvements. 4 and 5 are points of excellence. That's how it's supposed to work, ideally. Do you remember that? Oh gosh, no. We got enough on our mind, especially if you're a speaker. Sometimes with speakers, even with us experienced members, we can't wait to get on the stage, but we can't wait to get off of it. So during the meeting, as an evaluator, show that you're interested. Sonja, put yourself in my place. How do you think I'm going to feel? You just spoke. I'm sure you feel the same way. And take notes. Don't rely on your memory. Mine's terrible. I bet you yours might be slightly better than mine, but you know what I mean. You're going to remember everything? I don't think so. Especially when you try to summarize this in a 2 to 3 minute speech. But choose your words carefully. We want you to be positive. We want you to be encouraging, because the ultimate goal is we want to hear this speaker again and again and again, because there's always something to improve upon when we deliver a speech. So you just want to promote that self-esteem. You want to encourage that. So overall, be honest, be upbeat, be encouraging, be ready to suggest improvements, because none of us are perfect. There aren't any perfect people in here, in this meeting, are there? Well, good, because that means we have room for improvement. So now here's something else that most of us don't do. We're just so happy to hear the evaluation. Oh, thank you very much. And we go on our way. But what if you were practicing your speech for a speech contest? What if you wanted to do this presentation outside of a Toastmasters meeting? This is where speakers can reach out to evaluators. Take time to look at evaluation objectives. Did the speaker meet them? How can I better connect with the audience? Because eventually that's the ultimate goal. How did I connect with you? Hi, I'm Ray Rivero. I have a speech to give. Did you connect with me? And sometimes I use Dan, Madam Grammarian. Please mark that down. We do need to review how we performed. We've got a Leadership Speak YouTube channel. All our speeches are recorded. That way, when you first see yourself on the screen, the first thing you can say is, oh my God, no, God, that's hideous. You can overcome that because you can listen to see if you put in the pauses in the wrong way, a filler word, or maybe a gesture that was just out of place. Oh, it went off the screen. Oops. Like I said, no speaker has a perfect performance. So you do need to iron out the wrinkles, especially if you are participating in a speech contest. You need all the help you can get. I don't know if you're going to go to Vancouver, but maybe next year you can go to Paris. It could be you. And finally, don't forget to go back to base camp and complete your assignment for your project. And evaluations aren't just for speakers and evaluators. Oh, no, no, no. You have other areas that uses the very same formula. Let's start with the general evaluator. How can I make this club meeting run better? This is where we embarrass the Toastmaster today. No, we don't. We want him or her to be the Toastmaster of the day. Again, how were the preparations? How did they run the meeting? And I bet you there's somebody who is evaluating the Toastmaster to fill in the manage online meetings portion of a level 4 project. So what the general evaluator says isn't just for the Toastmaster today, because sooner or later, each and every one of us are going to be Toastmasters of the day. Online, hybrid, in person. And there are projects that involve running special events. You want to evaluate what went right, what could be improved upon, and the next time we hold such an event. We talked about planning, leadership, and team management. There is such a project, a level 5, lessons learned. What did you learn about this? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about being a leader? What you learned about running a team? Hey, guess what? Leadership Speak is a team of Toastmasters who work together, and we come in from all around the world because the commute to Toronto is atrocious. Now, there's a third type of evaluation called the 360 evaluation. It's long, it's 8 pages, but it's important that leaders improve. So please find that evaluation from the learning dashboard of Basecamp. Under feedback, under resources, there is a 360 evaluation. I challenge you to fill that out and send it to our club officers to see how they can improve. So per Holmes, he's going to get a lot of evaluations, I hope. And several level 5 projects do require this. And what's important about this? It sets the stage for our leaders to succeed. It helps identify those qualities that make them a good leader, some suggestions to improve, and most importantly, the challenges to become a better leader. So as you can see, the skill that you learn as an evaluator just for speeches can translate outside of the speaker evaluator environment into other areas of your Toastmasters experience. After all, you're paying for these dues, right? You got to get your money worth out of this. So in summary, evaluations are keys to improvement. It's for our performance. And it's not just for doing speeches, but for running meetings and for helping us improve as leaders. And it's a way for us to encourage each other to improve. And remember, connect with your opening statement. Give them a pow to grab the attention. Summarize your key points. And encourage listeners to apply what they hear and learn. And if the speaker wants more information, they can meet with you. And it's something I encourage you to do. It's something that we don't do enough of, but I understand it takes time, but it's worth it. So with evaluations, you learn, you improve, and you connect. One speech at a time, one meeting at a time, one event at a time. And then you build up those big skills and watch yourself grow, grow, grow. Mr. Toastmaster.
One step at a time. Indeed, evaluations are very important in our lives as Toastmasters. And I believe beyond being a Toastmaster, you need those skills. Thank you for that reminder. Thank you for empowering us as we continue with our journey as Toastmasters. Thank you for reminding us that none of us is a perfect speaker. None of us is a perfect presenter. But that effort to improve is what counts. Thank you for that. At this point, I would call for the timings. So timer, please post on the chat the timing cards, Christina. And as she does that, I would call for the polls. PR Master, please launch the polls. As that, okay, are the polls ready? Oh, thank you. As you vote for the best effort speaker, I would call our attention to the next segment. It has been hinted by our last speaker, the evaluation segment. This is where we get to know what we did right and where we can improve. To run this segment, I want to invite the general evaluator, Irene. And as she does that, thank you, PR Master, for also posting the guest book. Please, guests, before we end the meeting, we'll have a session to interact with you. So stick around and fill that guest list, the guest book, please. So over to Irene. Irene is our general evaluator. She's going to tell us more about this meeting and how we performed. Irene, how are you this afternoon?
I am very well. Thank you very much,
you.
Toastmaster Terrence.
Over to you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of our meeting. As General Evaluator, I will oversee this segment in the following order. I will call a team of seasoned Toastmasters to evaluate and empower our speakers to be able to keep speaking, keep preparing more and more speeches. As one speaker said, we want to keep hearing your speeches. Number 2, I will call on role takers to share with us their respective reports. And finally, I will share my overall assessment of the meeting. So first off, I want to call the evaluator of our toast speaker, Harlin, And this evaluator is none other than Toastmaster Sandra, who will be bringing her compassionate honesty as she empowers Harleen. And when I asked Sandra what her thoughts to our theme today was, she said that leadership is making sure everyone sees the pieces making sense to the team. Therefore, scaling for leadership really is about getting the best from each team member we have, getting to know each other in a trusting environment where we each know that the other person has our back. Toastmaster Sandra, over to you.
Thank you, Irene, and welcome, Helene. I'm so happy to be making some observations on your toast. You asked me in particular to watch for engaging messages and your vocal variety, as well as delivering a social speech. So I want to say right at the beginning, your presence on Zoom, you came in, you were relaxed, and you were just real. And that to me is more important than anything else. Beautiful smile and relaxed. It was a little while getting started. I'm not sure what that hesitation was, but we were relaxed knowing you were in charge. Your pace was good, and it allowed then for the clear enunciation, which is so critical, because I don't know how anybody learns English from all those other languages, but I know it's tricky. And the best thing is what you did, a good pace, clear enunciation, serving each word and still having a flow going. So very well done. I liked your mentions, your quotes, if you will, about the club members stepping back, not being heard and valued. You pulled no punches, even in your gentle manner. And it's so critical. Club members not being heard and valued, you nailed it. The club is still growing, and you uncovered that. The club is still growing, but underneath, people are leaving. Like, what's going on there? So you were poking and pulling and peeling back, and that was critical. So you had a lot of clarity in there. You were factual. I found it thoughtful and thought-provoking. Those are two different things. You were giving it in a thoughtful manner, and it was provoking thought in me. What I would like, though, is just that you have a little stronger call to action at the end, even though it's a toast. You gave us so much to eat on. I would like to hear you close with, so let's choose to engage and hear every member. Perhaps we need a buddy system or a mentor system, but let's help everyone participate to lead as we scale our teams. So there could be that energetic call to action that came in. Overall, I'm very proud of you. Well done. Thank you. Back to you, Irene.
Thank you very much, Sandra. What did I find that you did really well for Helene was you told her very clearly what she did well at. You also told her about being able to add a call to action. Really what you're demonstrating there is how to empower Helene to deliver speeches that we want to hear even more. And you mentioned to her very clearly what she needs to improve on. So very well done, Sandra. We want to quickly move on to our next evaluator. And this will be the Toastmaster who will be evaluating our Toastmaster of the day. And this is none other than President Holmes. President Holmes is project manager with the Singapore government. And his thoughts to this theme is scaling teams appropriately is a requirement for us wanting to work at community, city, national, and even global stages. Holmes, the stage is yours.
Thank you, TMOD. Thank you, GE. The TMOD role has 3 key aspects, 2 from me and 1 by the request of the TMOD, which I will evaluate by: executive presence, welcoming of guests, and addressing of ad hoc scenarios by the request of Terrence. First off, executive presence. The TMOD effectively is the meeting lead. This may be a special aspect of what we have at Leadership Speak, because sometimes what the TMOD does and prepares, although is endorsed by the president, acts as if he or she is effectively the president, because he or she is given the authority and empowered to lead. So in that sense, when Terrence comes up, there is indeed the presence. Hello, everyone. I am the lead. He is well-dressed. He has the background ready so that we focuses on him, not on anything else as he speaks. Where I would encourage him in terms of executive presence is that executives also have different modes. For example, in sharing, in welcoming, and in other forms, maybe giving instructions. And in this case, which I move on to my second aspect, I encourage him to take on different kinds of vocal varieties or even in terms of visual tools. For example, in welcoming of guests, his pitch and tone of voice can slightly change. Welcome, members and guests. It is my honor here to welcome you to Leadership Speak, where I feel home too. For example, he can also consider as TMOD to flesh out points or have visual aids. For example, for his opening address, which was fairly long and had a lot of content there. With that, he may be able to make the opening address more concise. Moving on to the third aspect, which is addressing ad hoc scenarios. In this particular meeting, we had a few technical challenges. Myself included, I was disconnected for a minute or so. Where Terrence has done well is that despite those technical challenges, he was able to remain calm, showing his executive presence. Where I would encourage Terrence to consider in his future opportunities as meeting lead, be it here or elsewhere, is that when he feels, for example, a minor introduction was not able to be done by a particular member, perhaps he could take over, immediately delivering it after asking once, maybe 2 to 3 times at max. If the person continues to face technical challenges or have some other difficulties, that 30 seconds or so could be delivered by the TMOD directly. In this case, it would allow the meeting to continue to smoothly go on. With that, behind the scenes, the TMOD could sort out, with the help of perhaps the club president, how to get this member back, or perhaps a replacement may be needed. In summary, executive presence, well done, Terrence, calmed and controlled. Consider having more vocal varieties for welcoming of guests, and also visual aids for longer openings. Addressing ad hoc scenarios, there may be times where you want to simply take control, take over some of the introduction so that the meeting can go on smoothly. For your consideration, and I'm thankful for Terrence's service at this meeting today. Back to Madam GE, Irene.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Holmes. One of the things you wanted me to look out for was empathy and emotional expression. And that has come out really, really well as you addressed the technical challenges that Terrence had to deal with. And you spoke in a way not to speak at him, but encouraging that he could do this in future. So really well done on that. We will be moving on to our next evaluator. And our next evaluator is Toastmaster Oltesh. Oltesh says about our theme today that scaling the team up is about influence and legacy. where your presence or absence does not affect the performance as your team is now on autopilot. Toastmaster Oltesh, over to you as you empower Arouna to be able to speak more and more.
Thank you very much, Madam GE. Arouna, are you in the room? I believe you are. Thank you for empowering us with an interesting, engaging, and an informative speech, where you shared with us the pillars of team success. When I spoke to you, you did, of course, indicate that you want to excel and you want to improve your skills on delivering speeches that are of keynote style. So how did your delivery go? You were able to show up on a stage, you were ready to deliver, and you delivered your keynote. You started by painting a vivid scene, being a young professional, and yet you were awarded a leadership role where no one paid attention to you, where your subordinates felt that they were more competent than you. You, however, empowered your team by building their capacity and training them. And you, of course, finished your anecdote by sharing how impactful your leadership style was. After your first segment of presentation, I was able to pick the fact that for us to have an effective team, we need to build trust, we need to empower, but also we need to deal with diversity. And I like the fact that you used Toastmasters and Leadership Speak as your background in sharing that. You ended your speech by sharing your insights. Leadership is about service and learning. Best leaders lose themselves by serving others. And of course, knowing one's leadership and communication style help us to improve as leaders. Much as I enjoyed this speech, and there were quite a lot of insights that you have shared, I would like you to work on practicing your speech, but also managing the time. You had between 18 to 22 minutes, but you were just under 12 minutes. So there was more room for you to share with us some of the insights that you picked in your leadership journey. I also felt that the conclusion was abrupt and it did not tie with the message and the title of the speech, which is Pillars of Team Success. And finally, I also felt that your speech had probably two segments. One on how to build an effective leadership, but the second one was how you learned through your leadership journey. So I kind of got lost there because I would have expected that you could have run with that same trail of thought on building successful team. And then maybe talking about your leadership journey could have been another speech. So I would like to challenge you, Arouna, that when delivering your speeches, especially the keynote style, try to move across the stage so that you can keep us engaged. You might also consider pausing and using voice modulation as a way of keeping us engaged. I would have also loved to hear, how did you address the challenges of leading people who do not necessarily respect you? So as you continue with your journey, I would like to say that you are an effective speaker, you own the stage, you engage with us, and I believe that soon you will be delivering keynote speeches that will keep the audience at the edge of their seats. I look forward to hearing more of your speeches, but also learning as you continue to empower and as you continue to build teams that are successful. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Very much, Toastmaster Oltesh. And what you have spoken to basically is what you wanted me to look out for. That giving feedback that uplifts and motivates. And I had that very clearly because you told Toastmaster Arouna what he did well at and showed him exactly where he needed to improve, what he needs to do better. And we are all looking forward to hear Toastmaster Arouna's next keynote speech. So definitely in line with what you wanted me to look out for. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Oltesh. We will move to our next evaluator, who is Toastmaster Dipti, and Dipti will be evaluating Toastmaster Rashmi. And when Dipti responded to what she thinks about this speech, about our theme today, she said, scaling is not a race to increase numbers, but a commitment to fortify the system. It is a shift in vision where clarity of purpose is the foundation for every layer in the organization. Dipti, over to you to empower Toastmaster Rashmi.
Good evening, everyone, and special greeting to my target speaker, Toastmaster Rashmi. Toastmaster Rashmi, we got to know you better today. You spoke about your journey from backbencher to the person on the spotlight. Also, you did not express your ideas better. So your whole journey was very well understood today. Also, you come from a finance person. You held many leadership positions at Toastmasters and out of Toastmasters too. Also, your mantra of tear, elevate and shine, where tear meant come out of comfort zone, elevate is to enhance yourself, and shine, do well. So the whole your journey, you talked about it. It was really nice. And you spoke about the spark that was missing, because you saw that the team was able to understand the communication, but it was not cohesive, or there was no sense of belonging in the team. So you wanted to solve this, and for that you chose that you felt that you must learn presentation mastery, and that will definitely help you in your profession. It was really nice to know. Now when you spoke about the spark that was missing, you said that I needed to go deeper, I needed to solve something inside. At this juncture, if consider giving an example, like what actually happened. It felt a bit vague since we don't know what you were exactly doing. So it felt a vague, so you can add a bit of explanation or clarity, and that's best from example or a very short example. And you asked me to focus on your confidence. You looked very calm, well prepared, but when you were delivering the message, you were pausing after every word. For example, I come from 2 words. Pause is a very nice way to enhance your speech delivery, but it needs like I come from. Like you could have used, I feel that if you use some other way of adding pauses, where the message doesn't get diluted and the connection is not lost, as it doesn't sound very monotonous. So that's one point which I felt will improve your, just to consider adding that. The way you ended the message was really nice. It was with a smile, and that showed total confidence and charge. So I think it was a good speech. We got to know you better, but just consider few of my suggestions. All the best for your future speeches.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dipti. Well done on evaluating Rashmi. what I could add that would help Rashmi elevate her speech even more is when you mention what she could do better, then be very specific about what she could do better. For example, when you mentioned that you didn't know what she could, where she could improve, that you wanted her to give that information, then specifically mention that, what you could do better. Overall, your nonverbal communication, you are very aware, you are smiling as you speak, and you're calm. And so your feedback comes out very, very well to the person that you're evaluating. And you kept your energy level, it did not dip. So well done, Toastmaster Deputy. So we will be moving on to our next evaluator, who is Toastmaster Hannah, and she will be evaluating Sonja. Hannah says to the theme, leading to scale teams means creating the systems that allow a team to grow stronger, larger, and more effective together. Toastmaster Hannah, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and Sonja. Members rely on each other's evaluations to develop their speaking skills. And now you have completed both levels of that speech. Congratulations. What's in it for me? Sonja, I am here to guide you. You received the first feedback and you used it to improve your second speech, which means you've applied what you have learned from the feedback from your very first evaluation. Well done. Because evaluations are essential for recognizing our own growth, the speakers and the evaluators. With small steps, you have achieved big results, some positives. With a powerful and consistent score message, a clear voice, beautiful vocal variety, you used exemplary metaphors such as emptying the ocean with a spoon. Will you try it? He was the heartbeat of the village, which emphasized your speech, and actions create momentum. Definitely something for us to admire. I have some challenges for you. Although your body language impacted the tone of your speech, and it was not too distracting, yet I noticed you remained still in one place when you spoke. Make use of the frame. Go backwards and forward, especially if you speak to other people and do their voices. Your hand gestures emphasize the impact of the speech, of which they were a bit below the screen. They could have been a bit more above the screen that one can see your hand gestures. Sonja, you had 2 stories in your speech achieving big results with small steps. Yet, I was on the edge of my seat waiting for your small steps with big results from your own personal story. That would have had more impact. How you grew from your small steps to big results. And engage the audience by giving an example. What should I do? Us all do to achieve the big results. Sonja, congratulations. Applying the feedback to your future speeches is now your responsibility. And you are always smiling, always happy when you present your speeches. And I'm looking forward to your next speech, especially from this amazing path, presentation mastery. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Hannah. I liked the fact that you focused on Sonja. You kept mentioning her name. So we She knew it was her being addressed, and you are looking out for her continued improvement. And very clear, you were definitely actively listening. So keep at that. Well done, Hannah. Our last evaluator for today's speeches is Toastmaster Sonja. And Sonja's thoughts to this theme is that it is important to have clear systems, alignment, and ownership, because team growth, without which team growth creates confusion and inefficiency instead of sustainable performance and results. Sonja is here to evaluate our last speaker, Toastmaster Ray. Sonja, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Irene. Ray, you were here to tell us about the importance and the benefits of evaluations. Right away from the get-go, you connected with us, or you even called us the evaluator, if we can hear you clearly. So everyone was drawn to the screen right away as you ask us also for a response. You were well prepared. The structure of your presentation was very clear, and you expanded besides steps towards preparation, objective. You also expanded on the evaluator, the role of the general evaluator, and explained about the 360 evaluation. Your Zoom presence was great. You had the slides on your shoulders in the forefront, and you were stepping a little bit back, and we could still very clearly see your whole body and your movements and your hand gestures. You also applied your vocal variety very clearly. I sincerely enjoyed your presentation as you brought humor and lightness, and that way you connected with us. And I could see it from how the audience responded and sent emojis, which shows that we were clearly listening to you. If I can make some recommendation to your presentation, as the objective was not to go into the deep dive, it's not an evaluation workshop, but a high-level overview. I would like to have seen examples on how the audience can apply those learned skills. Let's say bring an example from a professional setting in the office, or bring an example from the private setting. That way we can see clearly how we can apply the skills in our lives. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sonja. What I have really enjoyed about your evaluation is the fact that you gave Ray the places of recommendation where you said, how could we have benefited from his presentation? So making that very clear and empowering Ray to even deliver this speech at a more elevated level. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the end of our evaluation segment. I will ask our timekeeper to post the times in the chat, please. And as that is happening, will Madam Zoom Master please launch the polls for our beta evaluator? Now we will ask our grammarian for our meeting, Toastmaster Nellie Jane, who I'm sure has been listening keenly to our language use, to give us her report. Over to you, Toastmaster Nellie Jane.
Thank you so much. General Evaluator Irene. Fellow Toastmasters, especially to our valued
Unable
guest.
to spotlight Adele Jane. Sorry. Well,
And as your grammarian for today, it was both my duty and my delight to listen closely to what was said and also to how it was said. And I must say, today's meeting didn't just speak, it empowered. Now, before I proceed, allow me to revisit our word of the day, empower, which means to give someone the authority, confidence, or ability to take action and make decisions independently. And I'm happy to report that this word was not just remembered, it was embraced, being used at least 9 times throughout the meeting. Clearly, we didn't just learn the word, believed it. And moving on to the grammar and language usage, while I was ready with my pen and a keen ear, I must admit that the speakers made my job quite difficult in the best way possible. I spotted no major grammatical mishaps that demanded any public trial for today, so well done, everyone. And on the part that I enjoyed the most, capturing the powerful words that truly resonate. Allow me to share a few gems from today's meeting. The success of the team starts by building traits. Small steps create big results. Together, what was once seen as impossible becomes possible. And no need to wait for a perfect day or until your doubts disappear. Take the very first step, and another, and another. And a gentle yet powerful reminder, choose your words carefully. Listening to this, one thing becomes clear. This meeting didn't just build speakers, it built thinkers, leaders, and empowerers. And in conclusion, today's language was clear, impactful, and inspiring. And if words of power, then today we use them wisely. And with that, I return the control to our general evaluator. Irene, back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nelly Jane. And that brings us to the end of our reports. I will now move on to my assessment of our meeting. This meeting, it was very evident that training and practice has been done, both from the trainers and the role takers. I could see the meeting flowed smoothly. Role takers joined the meeting punctually, and as has been alluded to and has been mentioned by previous speaker, there were several Zoom or technical challenges, but every time that happened, someone quickly stepped in to maintain continuity of our meeting. Really well done, members. The Toastmaster of the day talked about the guest book. And what he did well was to say why that was necessary, that we will have a chat with them later on in the meeting. So then we know, as the guests are very clear as to why they are being asked to fill out the guest book. Really well done, because we respond well when we know what is happening in the meeting. It just helps to draw us in. Another thing that I noticed that was done really well, there were 3 members in today's meeting who had dual roles. And I will mention them. That was Nelly Jane, who was both our greeter and our grammarian. There was also Nicole White, who is our PR master and our Zoom master. And Toastmaster Sonja, who was a speaker and an evaluator. So it just goes on to show how we have taken this theme to heart, learning to scale our teams so that at the in a moment's notice, members can quickly take on roles because someone dropped out or there was nobody to fill it, because the meeting must go on. Areas of improvement. The word of the day, while it was used quite a bit, as the grammarian told us, one way to just encourage us to use it more is occasionally post it in the meeting chat. So then it helps to remind us that, oh, this is the word of the day. And then we use it even more. And the more we use it, then the better we get to understand it. So overall, really well done, prepared for meeting, really well executed. Even when there were hiccups, team members rose to the challenge and filled them up, were able to fill up those gaps quickly and explaining to our members what filling the guest book was for. Just by keeping on doing the things we are doing, because this is the leadership speak way, then we will even deliver more impactful and more fun meetings for our members and our guests. So that concludes my report for the GE. I will hand this back to the Toastmaster of the day. Back to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. That was empowering feedback, and we look forward to improving. We quickly segue to the thought of the day, and the thought of the day is brought by Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Paramjit, over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day. Wow, what a theme. In a fast-paced world of continual growth, understanding how to scale a team is not only important, but it is very, very much essential. And scaling a team is not about its size. It is about its strength. It is about adding the right people at the right time and with the right structure. And when done well, it can improve, it can transform a group of individuals into a purpose-driven team, high-performance, purpose-driven team, ready to meet the evolving demands of growing organization. Let us take an example, powerful example of leadership speak. Just by the humble beginning, now if you see, we have about 12 different trainers. It has expanded, not just to expand, but to build the team and education committee expansion. And this has helped us to have a permanently very consistent and very highly effective meetings every time. The progress is not achieved by just building numbers. It was about accountability, adaptability, and ownership within the team. As we move further, let us remember that we are not just growing as a team. We are shaping leaders, building strengths, systems, creating a legacy, because when we scale with a purpose, we don't just keep up its growth, we lead it. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you for the word of the day. Thank you for the thought of the day, the thought on the theme. At this point, I would want to invite the PR Master to share their awards. PR Master. And the best effort speaker was Ray Rivero. Congratulations, Toastmaster Ray. Finally, the best effort evaluator, Sonja Meindl. Sonja, congratulations. Congratulations to Ray and Sonja. Thank you for those awards. Congratulations to our speakers. And at this point, let me change the tone of my voice. Dear guests, are you still there? I would want to interact with our guests. I can see
President.
Yes, all right. Oh, this is I was jumping into that. I had empowered myself. President Holmes, over to you.
Thank you, TMOD. Thank you, Zoom Master. Dear guest, I'll be calling upon a few of you. If convenient for you, I would deeply appreciate it if you can both have your camera as well as your microphone turned on, so we can have some feedback from you and have an interaction with you for a short while. Let's see. Nora Mirambe Mugamwa. Nora, are you available? I'll be moving on. Marlene, are you available? Oh, Nora has his microphone. Let me see who is turned on.
Okay.
Hello, Nora. Welcome to Leadership Speak. How do you find the meeting today?
The meeting was exciting. We started just a few minutes after the time. The connection was perfect. I've enjoyed the speeches. So thank you very much. Saturday afternoon can be challenging, but it was worthwhile. And I like the line that leadership with purpose. I just love that. So that you can create a legacy that can live beyond your existence. Thank you very much. I enjoyed my time with you.
Thank you so much, Nora. It makes my day when guests tell me they have takeaway and there are things that they can implement or they have learned from the meeting. Thank you so much, Nora. Whenever you have time, you're more than welcome to continue to visit us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nora. Okay. Minor announcement on behalf of the TMOD and as well as the Table Topic Master. We will have a table topic session after the meeting. It will not be recorded. It will be a post-meeting session. So members and guests, you are more than welcome if you are available to stay tuned, stay back behind so we can have a fun table topic session after the meeting. With that, let me hand back the time back to the TMOD for his final comments and adjournment of the meeting. TMOD.
Thank you, Mr. President. Toastmasters and guests, perhaps you joined this meeting this evening or this moment thinking about the team that you need to scale, thinking about the team that you've seen being scaled. My hope and belief is that you've left this meeting with one thing that you can improve, one thing that you can build on, one thing that you can work on, so that the next time you're thinking about scale, it can be worthwhile. You can scale your teams, you can scale your efforts. Go out there and build teams to scale. With that, Toastmasters and guests, I would like to adjourn this meeting. Zoom Master, please stop the recording.